From the Oyster Cellar in beautiful downtown Seattle, it's The Dinnernet with Mark and Meg, the only podcast with appropriate footwear for an inch and a half of snow.
Our guest on today's episode is Gabby Park, pastry chef at Paper Cake Shop. Located in Stone Way between Fremont and Wallingford, Paper Cake Shop makes layered, slab-style sheet cakes with unique, not-too-sweet Asian flavor profiles, sold whole or by the slice. Gabby, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Would you say that the neighborhood Paper Cake Shop is located in is Wallingford or Fremont, or neither?
I think it's Wallingford dash Fremont.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
that's
hyphenated.
Yeah, it's hyphenated.
Wallingmont.
Well, yeah.
Like a peerage title.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
like
it feels like neither one or the other to me. I think it's technically Fremont, but
I just call it Stoneway, and people are like, oh, yeah, Stoneway.
totally.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I just say it's on Stoneway as well.
Yeah. That's all they need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you're local. So, like, that means something to you and me. A transplant may not know
Yeah.
what Stoneway means, because Stoneway runs miles and miles and miles, but...
But that one strip
That's
of
what we
Stoneway
mean,
is
right?
what we're talking
Yeah. So
about.
have you lived here all your life?
Pretty much, yeah. I was raised in Linwood. I lived in Federal Way a little
Nice.
bit, but spent most of my time in Linwood, and then moved to Seattle when I was like 20.
Cool.
Yeah. So Meg and I did a little research on you, of course, as we do on all of our guests, and we discovered that you started your career in politics.
Yes.
And then, so I'm not going to, I think I can imagine why you would want to get out of politics, but what inspired you to go to the pastry world?
You know, it was kind of random. I worked in politics for a few years in college and right out of college, and then it really just killed my soul.
You were in D.C., right?
I was in D.C. and I worked in like Pierce County, like Tacoma area, for Jay Inslee's gubernatorial campaign in 2012. And then as soon as that was done, I was like, I never want to do this again. And I was desperate for a job. And my friend who was a baker just got me a job as a barista at this place called Cake Envy on Green Lake, which has since closed like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But it was really fun. And for some reason, I felt inspired to go to pastry school.
So you turned around and went to school. You were like, I'm going to do this instead.
Yeah, so I went to Seattle Central, Seattle Central's pastry program.
Yeah.
And so I went there, graduated in 2014, and have been working in the Seattle industry ever since.
Yeah. You and Rachel Yang go way back, right? Like you worked at Trove?
Yes, I worked at Trove like right when they opened, like December of 2014, like right when I was about to graduate from pastry school. But I was also working at like 2 other places at the same time, which I don't recommend.
Wow, you're hustling.
Yeah, I really was, and
Cake
not really
hustling.
sleeping. Yeah, I was working at Cafe Press and Bakery Nouveau, like right after I got hired at Trove, which is like kind of a no-no. You know,
Yeah, moonlighting.
and I eventually had to kind of just like pick and choose where I wanted to commit to.
Okay.
But yeah, Rachel and I have known each other for like 10 years now.
Really?
Yeah. But I worked at Trove for several months, and then, we kind of kept in touch here and there. And then she reached out to me a couple years ago for Paper Cake.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it's been in the works for a long time.
Yeah.
So you were part of Paper Cake before it existed. Like
Yes.
she had you in mind. She had you earmarked.
She really did.
Yeah.
She reached out to me on Instagram asking if I wanted to like grab coffee with her for like a collaboration. I was like, oh wow, cool. And this is when I was still at St. Bread, and I was like, oh wow, cool. Like Rachel wants to do like an event with me. You know, she wants to do like a pop up or like a catering thing. And I was like, that's fun. And then she was like, I'm opening up a cake shop, and I want you to be the pastry chef. And I was like, oh, this is like a serious thing.
Yeah. What were you doing at the time when she reached out?
I was the pastry manager at St. Bread.
Okay.
I had been doing that for about a year.
Yeah.
And managing all the bread production, viennoiserie, and all the desserts and things like that.
Damn, all the hits. Like you have good taste.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. London Plain too, right?
Yes, London Plain. That's where I
super hits.
I'm dazzled. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I started working at London Plain after I had taken like a very brief sabbatical from pastry during COVID. And then my friend Zora, who was the pastry chef at London Plain at the time, whom I had met at Bakery Nouveau, she was like, Gabby, I need more bakers. I need bodies. And I was like, yeah, I'll start working again. And then a few months later, I was, in talks with Yasu, the owner of London Plain and St. Bread, and he was looking for a new pastry manager as their team was starting to grow at St. Bread. And so I transferred over there, which was great.
Cool.
Yeah.
I have a question. I was in San Francisco all weekend, and I was eating at Italian delis, and often they make their own bread, and they build these beautiful sandwiches of salami and mortadella, and Dutch crunch bread is always an option.
Yeah.
And I was like, why the hell can't you get it fresh in Seattle? You can get it at Winco, and it's terrible.
Okay.
And Layers used to have it years ago when they would have it for specials. They don't have it anymore. I posted pictures of it on Instagram, and like 6 different people were like, Layers had it in 2023. That seems to be the only instance of Dutch crunch.
Yes, because Ellery Collins, Boot and Scoot and Bread, she does make Dutch crunch.
Exactly.
And she did a Dutch crunch special when I was at St. Bread as
Does
well.
she make it now? Where is it?
Yeah.
Why doesn't the city have it?
I don't know.
Is it hard to make or something?
It's not.
It's just crackling on top.
It's literally
It's
just a
just-
yeasty crackling on top that you bake. And so I'm not really sure why more people don't do it.
Do we just not have the taste for it up here? Because, like bread is so perishable, so you really got to go through it.
Maybe,
I don't know.
and then people just don't buy it. They don't know what it is.
There is one place I can think of that I think still has it, and
Really?
it's Pink Bee in Ballard.
Oh, yes, they do have it. They have it. I don't think they bake it.
Yeah.
My partner's from the Bay, and he has very strong opinions about
Oh, I bet.
how it is made and why we don't have it, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people just don't know about it because
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
never heard about it until like 2 years ago when Ellery was talking about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I posted that, and Rachel Bell, who was our guest last week, was like, she's from Northern California, and
Yeah.
she said, I didn't know it was a local thing until I left and came to Seattle. I
That-
thought everyone would have it.
That is
Okay.
a fascinating thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she's a baker.
Because I think there was a time in my life where I didn't realize that teriyaki was, sort of closely associated with the Seattle area
Right.
as it was. And that surprised me.
I found that out when I moved to New York City and had the most god-awful teriyaki. It was all like gnarly and chewy. It was like ends and pieces. It's like the discount bacon package of teriyaki.
It's for the rats.
It was not nice. And there were peas and carrots in the rice.
No.
A la fried rice.
No.
Yeah. And they served it with the teriyaki sauce soaked into the rice. I hated it. I was so unhappy. It was like 2007. I'm sure New York City has good teriyaki by now, but
Yeah, they probably
heartbreaking. And I realized how patriotic patriotic to Seattle, I guess.
do. Yeah.
What would you call that? Patriotic to a city? There's got to be a better word.
There is. Like
Idiotic.
Idiotic. I like it.
Municiotic.
I like it.
Gabby, one of the big themes of Paper Cake Shop is the sort of Asian flavor profile. Can you tell us more about what that means? I think it's kind of a contentious descriptor in some circles.
Oh, it's definitely contentious because, like, you will see, per our Yelp reviews and Google reviews, we'll have some people come in and be like, it's not Asian, they don't,
Really?
they're not like Asian cakes at all. Well, because I think they compare them to like the really airy kind of like sponge cakes with the whipped cream and the fresh fruit that you get at, Paris baguette and like, 85 degrees Celsius and some of the amazing cake shops in the ID, but ours are like American style.
With Asian flavor.
With Asian
profiles.
flavors, yeah. So we're like, butter-based sponges and then like butter creams with, like a caramel or a jam, but with a flavor profile that's more Asian. And they're not going to be like, I don't know, like they have an Asian twist is what I like to call it.
Yeah.
Like Rachel and I, when I'm talking about menu for the shop, I'll like list off a bunch of, flavors that I'm thinking about for this cake. And then Rachel's like, yeah, but how do we make it Asian? And I'm like, well, let's put some matcha in there.
Yeah. Sure.
Or like, maybe some like leaking powder, in the buttercream.
Right.
So sometimes we kind of are like, okay, well, how do we make this Asian though? Like, for example, our Valentine's Day special that we're doing is a play on a Persian love cake. So we're calling it paper love cake.
Persian love cake.
Persian love cake.
Oh.
So Persian love cake is usually like a pistachio and almond-based cake with like cardamom. Sometimes there's like a lemon glaze on there, and then there's usually like a very like strong rose component.
That sounds so good.
It's so good. And so we're doing pistachio matcha sponge with a guava cream cheese filling and a hibiscus rose gelée, and then dragon fruit buttercream on the outside. Which the dragon fruit isn't really like a flavor. It's more for the color.
Dragon fruit is
It's
pretty
just pink.
subtle.
Yeah. It's just like the pink color of dragon
Yeah.
fruit, but we do use dragon fruit powder.
I should include that I ordered a birthday cake for myself for my birthday last week. I turned 45.
It was huge.
It was huge. I ordered too much cake. I ended up letting everyone at Hattie's at karaoke help us eat it, but it was amazing. It was the Good Fortune cake, or the Year of the Snake cake also.
Yeah.
And it was chocolate sponge. Was it chocolate and orange sponge, or just chocolate sponge?
Just chocolate sponge with an orange caramel.
Yeah.
And then we do like a chocolate walnut praline buttercream filling, and then walnut praline buttercream on the outside.
And then kumquats on top,
kumquats
the
on
garnish.
top.
And then it
Yeah.
had like a purple sort of snakish pattern.
And we use beet
winding on top.
powder for the
Beet
color
powder.
on that. We try not to use food coloring as much as possible.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Sometimes we have to use food coloring because the extracts that we use just happen to have food coloring in there. Like our ube extract is like just saturated with like purple food
Sure,
coloring,
yeah.
and like our pandan extract is like all green.
Totally.
But we do try to use as much natural stuff as possible.
Cool. Well, that cake was a big hit with everyone.
Yay, that's
Yeah,
great.
it sure was.
This drunk lady kept trying to like cut.
Oh
I was
my
like, please help us
God.
with the cake. And this one drunk lady was like, she went back for seconds or thirds and she just took like a big round slice out of the middle. And I was like, was this a mistake?
So
She
much.
was really enjoying herself.
I had the same thought, Ree. Was this a mistake? Like, she really went for it.
Yeah. She liked the cake. It's
Yeah.
delicious. Imagine how delicious it would be if you were as drunk as that lady. Like it was
Ooh.
delicious sober.
Right.
Imagine how many times more delicious it must have been to her. I'm happy for her.
So, Gabby, Paper Cake Shop has been open for a little more than a year. What have been some of the successes and challenges you've experienced in the first year?
Yeah, so many challenges.
Yeah.
Well, we do. I think the biggest challenge, first of all, is that we don't bake out of the shop. So we are baking out of Revel, which is another restaurant owned by Rachel Yang.
Yeah.
And Revel's huge. It has a huge, tabletop in the front. They have like a kind of wood slab that they do all their service on. And so in the mornings, myself and the two other bakers on the team, it's just the three of us. We work from like 6 to 2, and the line cooks come in, and then we do a little transition. And we, get the fuck out of there in time for dinner service. So getting all of the cakes and garnishes from Revel to Paper Cake is honestly, they're only a mile apart, but just the logistics of all
It's
of
a
that
pain.
is so challenging. And just the logistics of like the life cycle of a cake is something that I had never really thought of, especially considering like a second location. So we have to, build the cakes. We have to freeze the cakes. We have to make sure they're frozen before we transport them over. We have to make sure that, the driver is being, cautious on the road. We have definitely had some accidents where cakes have gotten smushed.
Cake accidents.
So many cake accidents.
Fragile cargo. Cake on board.
Totally.
We need a little sticker on the back that says cake on board.
Yeah.
It's so that's been very challenging, and just making sure, just the communication between, both locations, the line of communication is solid. And then on top of that, I think people don't want cake every day. Too is the challenge. And
Don't
so I
they?
think I know, right? But I think making sure, or like having the cake shop be busy all the time is just not like a realistic expectation.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
like busy on like Friday, Saturday, and Sundays, but then when we're open on like Wednesdays and Thursdays, it's usually pretty dead.
Yeah.
So that's challenging. I think also getting our drink sales up.
Yeah, I was going to say, you do
promoting our
tea
drinks.
lattes. So, like,
do.
hypothetically, you can go in and have a tea latte. And
You
a
can,
little
and
piece of
Rachel, crafts all the beverages herself, and they're all really good.
Oh. Yeah, they're
Not too
delicious.
sweet. They're so
Yeah.
good. But I think a lot of people just don't know.
Yeah, they don't
Sure.
know. They're about to.
They're about to know.
They're finna find out.
Yeah.
How about like event cakes? Like, how is that business going? Like wedding cakes and things like that?
It's actually going pretty well.
You do
Last
good.
year was really busy, and it was just our first year to open. And for some reason, September was like our busiest wedding month last year, and I think it's projected to be our busiest one again this year.
Good.
And we have a lot of people booking out,
Great.
which is great, because I think we're the only ones in the city who do like the long cakes, like the 4 foot, 5 foot, 6 foot long wedding cakes that are really trendy right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, and even dialing in the logistics for that, because you have to fit like a 6 foot long like board in the back
Sure,
of someone's car to
totally.
make sure the car can fit.
Yeah.
Long car.
So like my car can, I drive an SUV, so it can just barely fit in
Okay.
my car. So yeah, that's that was definitely a challenge. And just the consistency of the product too. I think we really struggled with in the first 6 months,
really?
and then we like really got it dialed in. I think by like month 7.
Yeah.
And we only have one oven that we work out of, which is Revel's like oven that's like beneath their stovetop.
Right.
We literally just make all of the cakes from one oven.
Whoa.
Do people? I've never gotten married, so I've never had a wedding cake. Do people tend to go toward a certain kind of cake for a wedding cake? Like do they want a plain cake, or do they do the elaborate ones, like the fancy?
Really depends. We had our last wedding that we did in December. It was very lavish, but the cake itself was vanilla cake, vanilla buttercream,
Really?
and raspberry.
I was
jam.
hoping you were gonna say it's like a matcha cake with mango and black tea and all that.
No, and then we did a vegan
what I would
gluten-free
do.
one that was like pretty much the same, like vegan gluten-free chocolate cake, raspberry jam, vanilla buttercream.
I guess if you're having a giant party, you want everyone to like the cake. But
I guess so. I think some people are worried that their like families from the Midwest might not like lemon sponge was like too had too much flavor for them.
Too
It was like
spicy.
it's too spicy. Lemon's too spicy.
I
But
bet that happens all the time.
we also have people who are like super chill and just want like, our like wild flavors, like with the lychee and the blackberry and like the matcha and, things
Yeah.
like that. So I think it really depends on the couples. Usually the like the Asian couples will really want like the kind of like red bean, black sesame, that kind of style of cake.
Cool.
Yeah. What's the wildest flavor you've come up with, do you think?
I don't know. I try not to make them like too crazy.
Okay.
I think, but I
you
will
could
say,
if you wanted to.
I will say yes. Rachel had an idea for one that we ran last December in 2023, which I don't think we'll ever do again. But it was like a savory cake kind of
Okay.
with
I'm
like
excited.
a
Yeah, me
chocolate
too.
sponge. It was called the Ruffle Truffles. It was like Lay's Ruffle chips with
Yep.
black truffle oil,
Oh my god.
black pepper in the buttercream. With
Yeah, mega.
ganache glaze on top. Rachel loved it. It was not my favorite.
No.
And I think just logistically too, it was not, the ganache kind of cracked. It didn't freeze very well.
Okay.
Okay.
And I think to me, it was just not my favorite, but some people loved it.
yeah.
Pretty
I'm
crazy.
thinking about how when you have ruffles and they're sturdy and the point is to dip them in like a creamy like onion dip or something like that.
Yeah.
And the black pepper icing being the dip
Yeah.
effectively.
French onion buttercream, maybe? I don't know.
Man,
Yeah.
I would destroy that cake. That sounds great to me.
That sounds like something Side Piece Kitchen would make.
Totally, yeah.
In a way.
Side Kitchen is in Tacoma and they do things like that.
Yeah, like a chicken Caesar cream cheesecake. Or
Oh yeah, they did
cheesecake.
a Caesar salad. They did a Caesar salad cream cheesecake with anchovies in the cheesecake.
I would
Yeah.
try that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they
right.
put Caesar salad on top as the garnish.
Things like that, I just have to know.
You just gotta try it.
You gotta try it. Yeah.
That's the way that the cat that is me gets killed. Yeah.
The cat that is Mark.
The cat that is Mark.
Shall we do some news, Mark?
Yeah, I think it's about time for news. We've got quite a few things. I think the first item is the Seattle hospitality industry is organizing an immigration fundraiser.
Cool.
So from Friday, February 7th to Sunday, February 9th, participating restaurants, bars, pop-ups, and such will donate a portion of their sales to benefit the Northwest Immigration Rights Project or another similar nonprofit of their choice.
Cool.
If you guys remember the Palestinian Children's Relief fundraiser that
Yes.
Taylor Cheney organized, it seems like this.
Yalla, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it works a lot like that, where places that are participating are kind of choosing the way in which they'll do it. So it's not like the full weekend. Maybe one place will do one day. Maybe one place will do like a portion of all their sales. Maybe it's like a certain item that gets donated. But there's a ton of participants, and
So many.
yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know that there's a unified page for it. Like I happened to see it on Mezzanote's Instagram.
Okay. Everybody go look at Mezzanote's
But yeah,
Instagram.
other participants are Hitchcock and Oyster Cellar,
Okay, heard
as
of
well
them.
as Bruschetto and Seabird. And then I'm just gonna rattle off
Yeah.
a bunch, and then there's more. But
We'll tag
like,
them all on Instagram.
Yeah, there's Atoma, Babar and Monsoon, Cafe Munir, Coyle's Bake Shop, Dark
Great.
Room, Driftwood, Gracia, Half Shell, Homer and Milk Drunk, Layers Green Lake, Liberty, Life on Mars, Lil Woody's, Local Tide, Lockspot Cafe, Lupe's C2 Tacos, Lupo, Mulati's Irish Pub, Off Alley, Oliver's Twist and Sopan, of course, Other Coast Cafe, Pensita, Saint Bread, Sisters and Brothers, Spice Walla, Stevie's Famous, Tivoli, Windy City Pie, Zilberstein's, and also most Tom Douglas and Renee Erickson restaurants.
Wow,
So,
wow.
it's a whole lineup
That's a
and
lot.
like even more beyond that. So
That's good.
yeah,
That's
you can always count on the hospitality industry in this town to
rally.
squat up and rally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing I love about it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good news, everyone.
Do you have an opening news?
I just have a little, a coffee cart is opening that does Haitian coffee. And so I noted this because Cafe Combi that was on the Ave, which was like a window, closed recently to my chagrin. And so there's a new coffee cart called Bonhomie, which is Bonhomie. And there's a woman named Michelle Dean who is sourcing Haitian coffee and serving out of a cart in South Lake Union. And it's just a new opening. I'm excited about it.
yeah.
Red. That sounds interesting.
Yep.
Speaking of coffee, Laurel on Capitol Hill has opened.
The pictures are so pretty.
Oh my God, that place looks gorgeous. Have you seen any photos of it? It's located in the former Crumble and Flake space, so like right next to Yala,
yes.
across from Bad Chankla. And it's a really tiny space, but they've just gorgified it.
I love that space.
Yeah, so that's from Kate Opatz, and I don't know if did I pronounce her last name correctly?
Probably.
Okay, well, let's hope.
We'll find out.
Yeah, right. We're gonna have her on the pod in a few weeks, I think.
Yeah, she's our guest.
And they're serving coffee from Broadcast Coffee Roasters and
nice.
pastries from the French guys.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Just up the street.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
And
That's perfect.
they will also have cocktail service, but that's not up and running yet. They're in soft open mode. So last I saw, they were closing at 2 p.m.
Okay.
But when they are ready, bar manager Nico Seal has crafted a cocktail list at Capitol Hill blog called Seasonal, Fresh, and Herbaceous.
I want them.
So I like the sound
Sounds
of that.
great. I'm sold.
Yeah. Also on Capitol Hill, Chamorican begins a residency at the Wash.
Awesome.
That's been on our radar forever,
Yeah, for
Meg,
sure.
right? Like we've been
Yes.
meaning to go there for a long time, and I gotta admit, it's hard for me because their hours. It used to be a
it's an hours
stand
issue.
that would set up in the very teeth of Pike Pine at like 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. Right? And it's like
And you're all
that's-
tucked in bed with your teddy bear.
Well, I'm not. In,
Me too.
I'm not in bed, but like grumpy old man Mark does not want.
You're
to
not
go
on the hill,
to
that's for
go
sure.
To the hill. Now I should. It's my job. I should sack up and do it, but I just haven't yet.
Here's the thing, and this isn't true of Chamorican specifically, but the hill in general, I don't like to cover the hill because everyone goes there. Everyone knows what's on the hill.
That
I try to
is-
find the stuff that isn't getting coverage. However, I would love to cover Chamorican more.
Yeah, so they're going to be, well, first of all, let's just, for people who don't know, it is a late night Puerto Rican and Chamorro barbacoa restaurant, and they serve things like barbacoa beef brisket with red rice and tostones.
Hell yeah.
They have pernil, which is Puerto Rican roast pork shoulder.
Yeah.
Yum.
They have bacalaitos,
Okay.
which foreshadows the next news item. But Chamorican,
Very dramatic.
but Chamorican will be at the Wash 7 days a week from 3.
So they're just a residency.
It's a whole residency.
Is
yeah.
it temporary? Or they just live there
for it sounds like for the foreseeable future.
Great.
So 7 days a week from 3 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Oh,
Wow.
shit.
Boom.
Open late.
Let's all go.
Yeah, get yourself some of that. The photos look incredible. He posts videos every now and then. It just looks like I want that.
We're reporting very heavily on that corridor, that Olive Way, where John turns into Olive and then it goes down.
Yeah.
That's where all our news is happening.
Yeah. Well, here's another piece of news that's not from there, and we will go to Belltown, which is my neighborhood. Lennox has begun lunch service on
yes.
Saturdays and Sundays,
I'm so
right?
excited.
Yeah. That place has such gorgeous food, and I saw that on Instagram, and I live in Belltown, so I just
went right over, yeah.
I just made a beeline right
saw
there.
your
It was
pictures.
it was lunchtime, and I thought I'm just gonna get some empirical evidence of this.
What'd you get?
I went with the pescado sandwich. So it's a fried fish sandwich, and this is where the bacalito comes in because I asked them what they fry it in because the menu says it's bacalao encrusted. And I thought, well, certainly it's not.
They take little bacalaos
Yeah,
and put
like
them all around.
certainly it's
Crush 'em
not
up.
like the fish version of a turducken where it's like
Explained immediately.
like
yeah.
salt caught outside of rockfish.
Yeah.
But so I asked how they made it, and the server went and asked, and then they kind of telephoned the explanation back to me, which was that it was sort of like a crepe with egg and salt cod mixed in and some spices, and then it's sort of wraps the rockfish and then it gets crisped up.
Really?
And so
it's enveloped in a crepe that has.
Essentially,
it is just as you thought,
So what it is essentially is it's bacalito encrusted.
Yeah.
That's what's going on there. And bacalito is its own sort of
Was it good?
beachy, flat little fritter that that folks eat on the beach.
Did you like it?
It was fantastic.
You wouldn't be talking about it if you didn't like it.
No, I wouldn't.
Wait,
my
so was
policy
it
usually.
in between bread?
Yes, yeah,
Oh,
it was
okay.
on a bun. It was on a nice sort of
A bun.
brioche bun. Yeah, it was a brioche bun, and it came with sofrito tartar sauce, which was delicious.
Hell yeah.
That's the flavor profile you want. It's like the dude's rug. It tied the whole sandwich together.
Yeah,
and
it's like the dude's rug.
it
They
was
wrapped
fantastic.
it in the rug of bacalito
Yeah.
crepe.
It comes with a really great side salad too. I mean,
Okay.
like side salads normally aren't much to write home about,
Right.
but that's a salty, rich, delicious sandwich. And there was a citrusy vinaigrette with pickled cherry tomatoes on the
Those
on the
pickled
salad.
cherry tomatoes are so good. I want them in a cocktail. I want them in my pocket. They're so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was fantastic. And then
Yeah.
they also have plates there too. So there's pollo guisado.
Oh, that is so
Yeah.
good.
Everything
yeah.
they do is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
prices are great too. There's like $15 to $21
Awesome.
across the board, and
Yeah, good portions.
that sandwich was huge. That was I could have housed it because it tasted so good, but I was glad to have some leftovers. I also got a side of cocoa greens too, because like you can't
Yes,
go to
yeah.
Lennox and not get the coconut
So
greens.
good.
My partner grows collards in his garden, in his yard, and he makes like Southern style with pork. And he's like, this changed my idea of how to cook greens.
Yeah.
To put the coconut in and the turmeric and all that. So that kind of blew his mind.
Yeah.
The Lennox
Yeah.
cocoa greens.
And that does it for our news section.
It was beautiful. I think that's news.
That's
I decree that as news.
that's what I call news.
That's nice.
Volume
news.
27. So for the roundtable, we were thinking about talking about the stories about ice raids in Seattle restaurant kitchens, which blew up really about a week ago. And so I was on the beat for it for a little while,
Yeah,
and
you were.
I logged a lot of time, and I talked to about 100 different people about ice rage and the rage following the ice raids.
Yeah, I feel that.
And there were about 6 or 7 different restaurants that were mentioned. They were rumored that they had their kitchens raided. And I did a lot of legwork, and I was not able to find any evidence of it at all.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
You were really combing the city.
I was really coming to the city. I talked to a lot of people, and it was sort of embarrassing because I didn't want to spread rumors
Right.
about raids that didn't happen because I don't want to whip people up into a frenzy for no reason. But I was following stories on Blue Sky and on Twitter, and I was emailing people and I was calling people up, and I just didn't find anything. And so I'm conflicted because certainly that doesn't mean that they didn't happen just because I personally, as one journalist, didn't find evidence. But
Yeah, you weren't the only journalist who didn't find evidence.
Yeah,
So
right.
this is the thing.
yeah, that's why it wasn't really reported on. It was reported on Reddit. So the story broke
Yeah.
on Reddit that someone said their wife's restaurant was raided, but we never figured out what restaurant it was.
Yeah.
People
yeah.
are saying I shouldn't say the names of the restaurants because it didn't turn out to be
Right,
true.
right.
But they were
Okay.
saying around 3rd and University
Yeah.
is where it happened, and I did not find anything.
I think the thing that really stuck out to me is when they said that. I know downtown. I live
Right.
downtown. And
Exactly.
the second I heard 3rd and University, I was like, what restaurant is there? That's the
Isn't
only...
it mostly banks?
So
Yeah,
later on, the
it's-
person amended the Reddit post and said that it was a private kitchen inside a building.
Yeah, my girlfriend's in Canada.
Yeah,
It's-
right. You wouldn't know her. She lives in Niagara Falls.
Yeah. so-
Again, I don't want to discount the possibility that this could happen, and it could happen tomorrow. It could happen an hour from now, and I think it's good that people are ready and they know their rights and they know what to do.
Yeah, it's good that people are ready and it's good to know your rights, but I do think that whole episode had a quality of Chicken Little to it.
Yeah.
And you saw the telephone aspect of it too, because the
Right.
first report was it was on 3rd and University, and then you see people saying they're in the University District, right?
Right.
And that's it's
Right.
just
The word
so-
university, like it's
so
someone in
classic.
Texas reporting, trying to whip up a
Yeah,
frenzy.
and I think the intentions are good there, but I think it does sort of suggest to us that we need to proceed with a little bit more caution because people were really scared.
Yeah.
But people were really, and of course, why wouldn't you be?
I talked to so many chefs who were talking to their staff and saying, here's what happens if this happens. And so far, I don't want to say it didn't happen Like maybe it's happened and I just haven't talked to the people yet.
Yeah,
I haven't tracked it down.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I think where we're at with it is there's zero evidence, and I personally I am concerned about that lack of evidence and the fever pitch of sort of all of us following this kind of essentially viral process of reposting the same exact information.
Right.
Like it all traced back to one Reddit post, and we got to be savvier than that.
Well, there was
we
also
just
a
have to
post.
be.
There's also a post on Blue Sky where a guy said that his wife, who works at a restaurant I don't want to name because it turned out not to be true, had the kitchen raided at her restaurant, and he was very upset. And he was saying that his wife was told she had to carry her green card at all times. And then shortly thereafter, he said it didn't happen at her restaurant. It happened at the Italian restaurant next door, which there isn't one of. But also, like, what's the deal about your wife was told she had to carry her green card, but then it didn't happen? So she wasn't actually told that? Like, it just...
Yeah, so what happened?
Then he's like, never mind. And then he took the post out.
Yeah.
I take it all back.
So she wasn't told that because it didn't happen and there's no Italian restaurant. Like, it just sounded like BS.
Yeah. It's so complicated because in an era where there's an incentive to have your post liked and shared, and that's sort of butting up against, that's a good way to disseminate information that's valid and vital, right? Like, so I think it really suggests that we need to, it's hard to hesitate in moments like that, but we need to kind of do a little bit of legwork just in terms of,
you got to fact check.
Is there some empirical evidence? Does someone have a photo?
No one took a took
Yeah. And
Seattleites are good about that.
Yes,
they're
that's
good
exactly.
at
We whip our phones
videoing
out
things
real
and putting
quick.
online.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of TikTok videos of people saying there are ice raids in Seattle kitchens. So I'm walking through Pike Place Market and here's the news that I'm telling you about, but no evidence of it actually happening. Lots of videos of just someone wanting to break this news that they didn't vet. So did this touch your world at all?
No,
Gabby?
not really. No, I haven't.
Because it didn't happen.
Anything. Yeah. Fingers crossed that it
Did this
continues
made-up story
to
touch your
not
life?
happen, but my life has not been touched by it, luckily, so far, and I hope it stays that way.
Yeah. Were you seeing reports at all?
No, honestly, the most that I have seen have been funny reels about people putting on wigs and pretending to be someone else in the kitchens when ice comes in. And it's really all just been kind of like
comedy,
become a joke, I guess, in my algorithm.
Yikes.
Yeah. That's like the extent to which I have
I don't want to be like fake
that.
news, but I do think this time it was. But it could happen.
Yeah.
It could be happening right now, and we just don't. We haven't found the source yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, possibly in the ID, like I would be concerned about.
I did find a report of 2 people being detained in Sunnyside, Washington, which is Eastern Washington, but it wasn't Seattle and it wasn't a kitchen.
Yeah.
That's all I found.
Yeah. I think a lot of people were really well-meaning, but I
do think they were well-meaning.
I think that this...
And worried for their friends.
Yeah. This administration is good enough at scaring people by themselves, so we don't need to accidentally help them.
Yeah. And absolutely, I wonder if it was generated because of out of scare tactics to terrify people.
Yeah. I mean,
that's just propaganda.
That is a possibility,
I have to wonder.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots to consider there. And, I'm sure, unfortunately, this will be a topic going forward because
I'm sure
that's where we're at.
I was like, is this subject stale? But I'm sure it's still in everyone's minds a little later.
Yeah.
I wish it could be stale.
And again, it could happen tomorrow. So
yeah.
All right. Shall we talk about the things that we ate other than the fish sandwich that you ate? You kicked it off.
I know, right?
Gabby, did you eat anywhere this week?
Oh my God, I ate at so many great places this week.
Yeah.
Name one.
Okay.
Prove it.
Name 3 of their albums.
Yeah, right.
I ate at Sopon on Tuesday.
Heard
it was
of it.
excellent. That was my first time. Yeah, heard of it. That was my first time going. Excellent. Had the pork belly. Had
that's my
the
favorite one.
black cod with the green curry.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, and the papaya salad.
I love the papaya salad.
Oh my gosh.
I was so late on trying the papaya salad, and then when I had it, I was like, this is dope.
Yeah.
It was very fresh, very delicious.
Yeah.
I went to Taurus Ox on
I
Thursday.
love Taurus Ox.
Oh my God, that Lao burger is...
Yeah.
I've still never
Crazy.
been there. I'm totally delinquent for not going.
We gotta go. I think there's...
It's because I don't drive, and I don't want to take the bus out there. But yes,
Okay, that's valid.
Yeah.
It's not valid. I should go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. Yes.
Yeah. No, don't validate me. I could go there.
Taurus Ox was great. We had the curry noodles, and then like yu choy sesame enoki mushroom salad. It was
killer.
excellent. Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
Yes.
That
Yes.
is gorgeous, super flavorful food.
Cool.
Yeah, I think I'm
And-
going to go to Oxburger on Wednesday to have that Lao burger again. Because
Yeah.
I can't stop thinking
That's
about
closer, right? That's on Madison or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I was texting with Janessa, one of the owners, because I
Yeah.
was like, "What? My first time at Taurus Ox. What should I
Yeah.
get?" And afterwards, I was like, "Oh my god, that burger was amazing. I can't stop thinking about it." And she was like, "Oh, well, you can get it at Oxburger if you ever want to sit somewhere more casual and
Cool.
fast." So
Yeah.
I would imagine it's the same.
Yeah.
So shout
Yeah.
out to Campaign and Janessa. They're
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I want that.
Yeah.
We went to Hamdi for my birthday on Thursday, which was spectacular.
Just completely
Yum.
sumptuous.
Yeah.
is how I would describe that.
Yeah, I keep thinking about we ate many beautiful lamb dishes. The lamb leg medallion was very memorable.
Yeah.
The kebab was memorable, and of course they partition it out into these little like lavash napkins, right? And then
Yeah.
you wrap up the little piece of lamb kebab and eat it, and it's lamb belly, so it's very rich. The thing I keep thinking about is the celery root in that yogurt, the ayran.
Oh my
The
god, that is
smoked
so
yogurt,
good.
yes.
Yes.
Stunning.
Yeah. That haunts my dreams.
It's been on my mind. And also that trachea cocktail I had that was light rum and dark rum with roasted, like fire roasted sesame seeds infused into the rum.
Yeah.
And that Sanzafine hazelnut amaro. Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful
Yum.
cocktail.
Oh yeah, I meant to hit up Gillian and Joey to ask them about what's the deal with hazelnut amaro.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there were ones
right?
that we didn't know that said Sanzafine hazelnut amaro, and there was another one
Oh my
too.
god.
Yeah, so maybe they're freestyling
Explain
for Humvee.
yourselves.
Yeah,
Yeah. I need answers.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
The cocktail game at Hamdi is incredible, and,
Yeah.
and you wrote about that, didn't you?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, I did in Seattle Mag.
Yeah, so I don't think they have a bar you can sit at though. But
No, and when I was interviewing them, I'm like, hey, sometimes I'm out at karaoke and I just want to get a couple cocktails. Would it be, because I hadn't dined at Hamdi before.
Yeah.
Can I just drop in? And they were like, we're kind of a destination restaurant. Like, can I just get drunk at your
Yeah,
bar and
yeah.
like not have dinner and just have all of the cocktails instead? Because they're so unique and they have, like Turkish hot sauce and
Yeah.
that beautiful ayran, the yogurt, the house-made yogurt, and interesting ingredients like that.
Yeah, so I think the conclusion is if you go, definitely add a cocktail to your meal. 'cause
Yes,
they're
absolutely.
fantastic, but you can't just go for the cocktails.
If you guys haven't figured it out, Mark was at my birthday. We were there at the same time.
Most of our Thanks I Ate It segments are things that
I
we
know.
all
I
had.
started
and
thinking I'm going to go to Drumlin this week, which
Yeah.
is reopening with a new chef,
Yeah.
Chef Zephyr.
Oh, Zephyr.
Paquette is opening the new menu. Their soft opening next week or this week.
That's fantastic.
And I'm like, should I take Mark? Because we're just going to both talk about it.
We'll rename this segment Thanks We Ate It.
Let's
we ate it.
let's not sit together and not talk to each other.
I'll wear like a funny nose and glasses and be in the,
Good
in the
call.
corner, and then we can kind
I'll
of.
wear a wig like in those TikTok ice videos.
Yeah.
So good. But Zephyr Paquette's like a Seattle
Yes.
legend, like a long time lifer.
Yeah,
That's-
so she's the new chef at Drumlin and Shoreline,
That's
which I'm excited
great.
to go to. It was just a tap room, right?
I think so. Yeah.
And then they closed for a little while and they just rehashed the whole menu. So Zephyr's debuting the new menu.
Rad.
I'm going to eat it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of where else. I was sick for part of the week, so I didn't really eat as much. But what I ate some booze, I guess, because I went to I went to Letterpress Distilling, the
yeah.
tasting room, because they've been closed all of January. So I intended to go there for about an hour and just taste a flight because I kind of
Yeah.
wanted to reacquaint myself with that entire line of Amari. And
I don't know anything about the letterpress. Do you?
No.
it's so good. So they make Amaro Amarino.
'Kay.
So that's sort of an
Oh,
essential.
yeah, I've had that.
Yeah, and that's an essential
Yeah, I need
component
to
of.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is there a tap room?
yeah.
Where is it?
It's just by the stadiums in Soto.
Okay.
Yeah, we gotta go.
We gotta go.
We gotta
soon.
go.
It's just such gorgeous expressions of. He has 3 different limoncellos. So
Oh,
one's
shit,
made with
okay.
lemon, one's made with blood orange, and then my favorite is made with grapefruit.
Oh, yeah. You had a story
And-
series on IG about
yeah,
this.
I had a whole social media.
I was traveling,
experience.
so I'm kind of reading them before like the Wi-Fi goes out while I'm on the plane before the plane
Yes.
took off. So I didn't read them all.
I tasted all through them, and I took some notes this time because there are certain, like, I wanted to remember like which of the limoncellos are my favorite, and then he has an Amaro Amarino regular and then a Reservo, and I know that there's a difference, but I couldn't remember what the difference was, and I wanted to kind of like make a record of it. So the Reservo, for the record, is a higher proof, and it is aged in a Maker's Mark barrel, and then my experience with that was that brought out the warm spice notes a little bit more, and A little bit of the sarsaparilla
Oh, nice.
flavor came through a little bit more than it does in the regular. Love them both.
We should get Skip on the show.
Yes.
Skip, I've never met you, only in DMs, but if you want to be a guest on our show, you seem interesting.
Yeah, I started the ball
And you
rolling
can
on
talk
that.
shit on Boston pizza, which I would love to join you for.
God, yeah, we talked for like 3 hours about,
Oh, really?
about, like, food stuff. I was just going to be there for an hour and then bounce and then go and do some work. But like, he's just really fun to talk to.
Did you both gesture because you're Italian? Is that racist?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I mean, it's an accurate an accurate observation.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're saying the stories are true about Italians and hand gestures? Oh, I was in the Bay. I was in Belmont, San Carlos, like South San Francisco, and I had Georgian food, which is hard to find around here.
Yeah.
Never
Speaking
had
of
it here.
Instagram
It
stories,
was
those look great.
beautiful. We went with my partner's daughter and her kids, and they liked it. And we had khinkali, which are they're kind of like xiaolongbao, but they're big, and the spice profile is different. And so there's like usually a beef meatball or a beef and pork meatball. This was beef, and then they also had a lamb version, and then it's a soup dumpling. So there's soup inside that's garlicky. There's parsley and onion and black pepper and that sort of thing, and they look like a medieval purse, a coin purse, right? And they're pleated.
The Lord just like tosses it to the
Yeah,
peasant.
right. It's a meatball-based economy,
Yeah.
meatball currency. And then there's soup, and so you hold it up and you drink the soup. We had a hachapuri, which many people, that's the highly Instagrammable Georgian dish. That's
Yeah.
like, people call it a cheese boat. It's a sort of canoe-shaped or eye-shaped bread. And then there's sulguni cheese, which is sort of similar to like salty mozzarella. And then there's an egg and cheese and butter on top, and you mix it all together, and then you rip the bread off the side and dip it in, and it's very rich
Yum.
and
Yeah.
good. And we got a roast chicken with baja, which is sort of like peanut sauce made with walnuts
Oh yeah,
and lots of fenugreek. It's very easy to make, actually.
That I have never had it, but the description sounds so good.
It's just a roast chicken with like, some red pepper and black pepper on top. Actually, it was Cornish game hen. And they butterflied it and roasted it. And then there was just like a dish of walnut sauce with fenugreek and garlic and a lot of black pepper. It was so delicious. I'm so sad. We do have skalka here. So we do have a little bit of Georgian food, and they do the hachapuri, the cheese boat, as they call it.
Yeah. And great renditions of it. Like that's a real
And you can get
solid-
it with stroganoff and pickles on top. They have some variations.
The thing with the khinkali though, right, is that the little grabber part you don't eat, right?
Yeah,
you
the top knot you do not eat.
It's just it's this little dough handle, right?
Right, it's like a Cornish pasty where that's where you put your filthy hand.
Exactly.
That's not why. In Georgia, so you'll order them and they're like 19 cents a piece or something. And so you order them by the 10. And they bring out these giant platters for your group of 40 or 50 khinkali dumplings. And then you don't eat the top. A of all, because if you eat the top, it means you're cheap, right? Because it's kind of like not as nice to eat. It's just thick, right?
Yeah.
But also, you leave the top nuts on your plate, and then the server can count how many you ate.
Oh.
And they know how much to charge you.
Oh, so that's extra cheapness.
It's
then,
sort of
'cause,
like the
you're-
sushi
Right.
conveyor belt where they count your plates.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
I love that.
Beautiful food. The restaurant we went to was called Tamari, like Tamari Bar.
Oh, yeah.
But it means like, it's a woman's name. It means like Tamara, basically. And I would go back in Belmont, California, suburbs of San Francisco.
I want to go.
Yeah, I had a family friend on Saturday.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I was like probably
Oh,
my
there
like
is more.
15th time
Yeah?
there.
I don't think we've talked about Family Friend, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my
Like, we've
God.
been there, but I
mean,
don't
yeah.
think that we've chatted about it on the show.
What-
Oh yeah.
What are your favorite items other than the burger there?
Oh my gosh, thank you. The bulgogi rice bowl is my favorite thing to order. It's like super charred bulgogi with like their with their like red rice.
Yeah, I don't think that was on the menu when we went.
Oh, really?
That sounds new to me.
It's excellent. I always get that, and then obviously I always get the corn soup.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
great.
the empanadas, the beef empanadas are really good. Yeah.
I had a really
honestly.
nice cocktail
So
there
base.
that had like coconut cream and I think scallion oil on the top. It had like green
Yeah.
polka dots.
Yeah.
I think it was rum based. It had an orchid too. It was very, very nice.
I always get the coconut lemonade. I just like
I
pound
gotta
it.
go back there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I kind of have a coconut rule with cocktails. Like if I'm anywhere that it makes sense to have a drink where there's coconut cream in it,
Yeah.
and I have like a reasonable expectation that it'll be decent
Yeah,
coconut cream,
you're
I'm
gonna do
gonna
it.
order it every time. Like that's gonna be the
What
one.
I was interested in, and I think we went about a year ago with Harry Cheadle,
Yeah.
and they had just opened, was that the bar side of the room was doing a pretty swift business, and they had sports on the TV, and like it seems sort of sports bar-y on the other side.
Right.
And I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, they're getting such high marks for their food, for their cuisine, but you can just chill and have a drink on the other side, it seems like.
Ostensibly, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how doable that is in terms of how busy
Yeah,
they
are
are.
they packed all the
People
time? I
line
don't know.
up
They
and-
probably are by now.
It was crazy in there. And
It
like,
was.
yeah, every time I've
Still.
gone in the last like few months, it's always
Really?
crazy. And I was there, on like a Saturday night with a group.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they were playing like Rick and Morty on the bar side, and then like surfing videos on
Great.
the
love
dining
it.
room side. And it just feels very, like neighborhood
Comfy,
bar,
yeah. It seemed
very
like
casual.
We were having a sort of stressful, packed-in time, and I was like, my ass is hanging out into the aisle and trying to like, oh, sorry, the server's trying to get around me. But then I looked over, and everyone's just chilling, all cozy at the bar.
Yeah.
I was jealous. I wonder if you can order food instead of the bar.
Oh, yeah, that'd be amazing.
That's what if I ever go by myself, I just
Yeah,
sit
man.
at the bar and do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that dichotomy of like super busy, a high prestige destination restaurant and like neighborhood chill spot.
Yeah.
You know, like that's a cool thing. 'Cause when you live there, you can get there early.
The Italian sandwich game in San Francisco is beating Seattle to hell. We have good sandwiches, but that
Yeah.
specific like Italian deli where you can get like Molinari type
Right.
style. Why can't I speak? Like mortadella, just really high quality Italian meats.
Yeah, we're not a very meat focused town, I don't think. Like, we're more produce and then seafood.
Yeah, I would say that's accurate.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
do good at hot sandwiches, though. These are like cold sandwiches.
Yeah.
We're good at, of course, like the paseo and bien type
right.
hot
Right.
stuff. Caribbean style, we do great at.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Post Alley Pizza's sandwiches
That's true.
for the cold,
Yes, they do a
Italian
great
style.
job.
I'm trying to think if there's a competitor to them.
Like salumi.
Yeah, I do
salami's
love
great.
salami.
Yep.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go now.
Great
Like,
idea.
Yeah.
Let's all go.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
my catchphrase on the old podcast.
Yeah, I think Other Coast Cafe has like, pretty decent sandwiches too. I mean, they're not as high end with the meat, of course.
Or you can just go to the Bay Area. No, I would never say that about
How
Seattle.
dare you?
We're good at sandwiches, specific kinds.
Yeah, like different places have different things that they're great at, and I think that's actually something to celebrate. Like, it's nice to not have
Yes,
everything be
that's true.
everywhere.
That's true. We have great
you
banh mi.
always have a screed about that where
Yeah.
people move to Seattle and they're like,
do.
where's all the Kansas City barbecue?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, it's where you left it.
Right.
Back in Kansas City, man.
I'm
Why
on
would
the-
we have that?
Exactly.
I live 2,000 miles away
Yeah.
from a place where it's all the exact same food. I guess that's that's tantamount to me bitching about no teriyaki in New
Well,
York City.
yeah, I was going to say like, that's sort of the insight of that is that it's a symptom of people not realizing that their regional food is actually regional.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know until I knew. Right.
it's the thing of us not realizing teriyaki is mainly associated with Seattle, and Rachel not realizing Dutch Crunch is mainly Northern California.
Do you have anything to add? Do you have any projects that you're working on?
Oh, yes. I'm organizing another Bakers for Palestine mutual
great.
aid
Oh,
bake sale. I
fantastic.
did one in August, collaborating with A Resting Place, which is located in the International District. Derek does a great job curating the space and hosting events. And so we're doing another one February 22nd. It's going to align with like the International District Lunar New Year celebrations.
Great.
Cool.
So I did a call for bakers on social media, and I honestly realized that was kind of a mistake because I got so many inquiries.
Oh, really?
And we
Yeah.
only have like 6 slots. And so I tried to prioritize people who had either like done it before or that I knew personally that were, doing like pop-ups and things like
Yeah.
that, who would have like the infrastructure to be able to pull something like that off. Because we're looking for like 75 to 100 pieces of pastries.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of inquiries, and it's really just me running the Instagram. And
Okay.
so, but so working on that, it's a little overwhelming, but I did manage to get some help from some friends.
Great.
So
That's
looking forward to
exciting.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be helping out with Kiki from Musong's Cupid's Dinner pop-up on the 18th at Key League.
great.
It's like, I think his 3rd year doing it. So I'll just be
Cool.
doing some cake for that and
Nice.
having a good time, photo booth.
Yeah.
Do you
DJ.
normally make cake, like even in your free time? Are you cake focused specifically, or do you do all kinds of stuff?
Oh my gosh. No, cake is not really it was never really my wheelhouse
Really?
before Rachel Yang contacted me.
Yeah.
It was mostly like bread and viennoiserie. That was kind of like my
Okay.
bread and butter, so to speak.
I don't know the word viennoiserie. Why don't you tell me?
Oh yes, it's just laminated pastries.
Laminated
Or
pastries.
like
Okay.
anything that is like infused with like a ton of butter. Like brioche is considered viennoiserie.
Okay.
Like danishes, croissants.
Okay. I'm like,
things
does it
like
relate to wine? Viennoiserie.
That's a good guess. Yeah.
I was trying to guess what it was. I'm like,
yeah.
how do you spell that? Okay.
It's like like Vienna,
Got
the
it.
birthplace
Oh,
of
like
croissants.
Vienna. Of course.
Viennoiserie. Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. So is that normally what you bake?
Yeah. No. I mean, that is mostly what I focused on for the last like 10 years. After doing some like plated desserts at RN74, and then when Rachel contacted me to do cakes, I was like, what is cake?
Yeah. Do I like cake?
I honestly, looking back, I didn't know shit about cakes when I first started, and now, now I feel like I do know a thing or two about cakes.
Master,
but I really learned a lot these last couple of years when I really didn't know anything when I first started.
Do you bake at home?
I wish I said that I did, but I don't anymore as much. I have a pretty small kitchen.
Yeah.
I do like to make focaccia at home.
Okay.
And, but honestly, I usually just spend my time baking at work.
May as well get paid to do it.
Yeah, exactly. I like to spend my time doing other things.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
I think
You're baked out by the time you're home.
I can't bake for shit. I just mess it up. I'm not fastidious like you two, I'm sure. I know it's chemistry and it's finely tuned, and I'm just like, I just want to make it up.
Yeah. There's
terrible baker.
There's a craftiness to baking that is where I missed the boat on.
Oh, really?
Because I don't know, I'm just not good enough at like getting things precise. And then I'm fastidious enough to where I need them to be precise. And if I can't do it, I get annoyed.
There's a lot of tech involved too, and a lot of equipment. Like there's gear.
It's a lot. Yes, it's tech heavy for sure.
If you want to go full in, you got to buy all the stuff, which I can imagine. It's like any other like. Thinking of my boyfriend like buying stuff for his garage, buying like radial saws and things like that for a project, right? And he's willing to invest in it, but like. If you don't care, why would you do that?
Or a podcast.
Or a podcast, for example. Exactly. Podcasts are like baking.
It's a lot like baking.
Well, should we wrap it up?
I think that's a good place to wrap.
Yeah, Gabby,
maybe.
thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. This is so
thank
fun. Such an honor.
Everyone should go get their birthday cake at Paper Cake Shop.
Yes.
Yeah, or even just a
In
slice
the
of cake
Stoneway
there.
District.
Yeah, come
or
get a
just
slice. Come into the shop. We need more foot traffic.
come say hi and get a tea latte and chill.
Yes,
Yeah.
And just like behold all of the cakes in the display case. So it's usually 4 or 5, and they're elaborate, and they all have cute names.
Yeah, it's 6, and sometimes we'll have 7.
Amazing.
Nice. Yeah, and they taste as good as they look, which is a rarity.
It's
these
a sight
days.
to behold.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right, I think that'll do it. Next week on the podcast, we have Michael Wong from Asian
Yes, we do.
Verified.
I love Michael.
He's very funny. I'm very excited.
Hilarious. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, stay
Asian Dad
tuned for
Camp.
Fellow
that.
stranger freelancer.
Yes.
We're
Yeah.
both writing Food with a Stranger now. So,
Oh my
True,
gosh, I
true.
can't wait.
Yeah, till next week, everyone.
all right. Thanks, Gabby.
Thank you.